Welcome to Baseball Biz. Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. This week it's Softball Biz. And I'm very fortunate today to have once again Mary Kitt's with me here today. I'm Mark Corbett, and we're going to be talking about what's happening with the Super Regionals in Division I of softball. You know, if you've lived and listened to this show before, you know I love it. And when it comes to watching the games with the collegiate softball teams, and talked about the energy time and again. And not only just with the energy of those teams and players, but of the commitment of the fans. And Mary, I know that you've been both a player and a fan. And my gosh, here we are. It's Super Regionals time. There's been a lot of excitement, a lot of catching up with you and I talking about some of the Florida teams. I mean, where have you been? What's been going on in as you follow it?
Well, I spent almost every day of my weekend last weekend up at the FSU softball complex watching them in regionals. They played Howard, USF, and then Mississippi State. They lost to Mississippi State. So unfortunately, after having an incredibly good season, they were ranked number 2. They were seeded number 2. They ended up losing and not making it to Super Regionals. But, you know, it's always fun when you get to spend, 8 to 10 hours of a day out at softball fields.
Oh, well, I know that to me, I would probably enjoy that more than 8 to 10 hours at a baseball field because one, you've got multiple games going on and all of that, but it's a different kind of energy and the games are a little shorter, but you get to see much more talent as well. But goodness gracious, heavens, Murgatroyd, I'm really looking at it. I was number 2, FSU. I've been following that too. Come on. What happened? Who's Mississippi State?
They are an unseeded team. There are, I think, 4 unseeded teams in Super Regionals this year, which is, exciting for them. I'm bummed. But I can't tell you that it just felt off. The first game, it was on Sunday. Something just felt off. Mississippi State won. We went to the second game and it just felt a little off. The bats were not alive for Florida State. The pitching was too good for Mississippi State, I think. We just could not get any runs produced. It was tough. I know that the girls tried their hardest. It's rough because we lose a player like Sydney Sherrill, who was there on the team that won the World Series 4 years ago, and this was her last year. We lost 2 of our pitchers, so it was a rough way for them to end their last season. But I'm sure FSU will be back next year, and they're a good team every year. So hopefully next year they can just get it together and get it done. Yeah,
I mean, they worked so hard for so long, and to think that it can all be just taken away in one afternoon, I mean, that really hurts because what were they? They only had like maybe 5 losses for the entire season. Good gravy. And to not see them there, it just doesn't seem right. I don't know any other way to say it.
I agree. It was tough. And I was really looking forward to, I thought that this could be the year that another year where we went all the way to the end, but we're not going to. So that's disappointing. So but the good thing is now I get to watch without having a heart attack every inning. So I can just watch the games and enjoy the games for what they are.
Yeah, and we've still got some Florida teams in there. I think if you told me last year that I would be seeing Florida, if I'm USF in there, I don't know that. Are they in? Did they make it?
We ruled USF actually, so they got knocked out in regionals. But UCF is there.
Right.
This is their first Super Regional appearance. They're playing Oklahoma, which is rough. It's going to be hard to beat Oklahoma twice, but they actually had a really good game against Michigan. They had to beat Michigan twice to get out of regionals, and they had one game that went 11 innings. Their pitcher pitched all 11 innings, Kama Woodall, and they fought really hard during that game. I actually watched that game while we were on a rain delay at the FSU game, so it was really interesting. They played really hard, and now they get to come and try to take on Oklahoma.
Well, UCF will definitely they're going to bring something to the table. I mean, if they went that hard against Michigan, Oklahoma can't just roll with this. They've got to be, taking it. I mean, they have to be prepared for that game.
Oklahoma is always prepared. That's the thing about Oklahoma. They had a 3-2 win over Texas A&M in the regional, but then they came back and beat them again 20-0. and they've had something crazy. Like the majority of their wins this season have been run rule wins. So Oklahoma is always prepared. They're always good. Jocelyn Alo is always going to hit a home run.
Oh, yeah.
They're incredible. They're who I think is going to end up winning it all. I would be really surprised if they did at least make it to the final games.
And they're an elite team. I mean, all the teams that get here are, but it's like every player, the coach, all of these, you're saying, really? Well, why are they even in college at this point? You would think all of them would already be in the pros, but they have that distinction. Plus, they have an advantage. We talked about this before. When it comes to playing in the finals and everything else, guess where it's going to be played? It's going to be played in Oklahoma. And what we're saying was like a 5-year commitment that had been made with the NCAA.
Yes, it's basically like they're playing a home game. Last year when they were playing FSU in the finals, it was the stands were filled with Oklahoma fans. And they have a really dedicated fan base too, which is awesome to see. The school, Oklahoma, seems to put a lot of money behind the team, and the fan base is pretty intense, and they turn out. So they've got nothing but good things going for them in Oklahoma.
Well, I'm excited about seeing what continues on. Again, much like yourself, I was really looking forward to seeing FSU get there. A little disappointed with seeing them get knocked out and not coming to the super regionals. But we mentioned, of course, that the Knights are going to be going up against Oklahoma, and that's going to be we know it's tough, but and it being their first time in super regionals, as you were saying, I've got a lot of hope for them. So, but they're having to play it at Oklahoma, so one more advantage, but to the champions as well. So there's another 14 teams that are going through these regionals.
In Florida, if from the state of Florida, the University of Florida is also going. So, we have 2 teams from Florida that are going, which is great. They have to play number 3 Virginia Tech, who is a tough team. So they'll have a tough time ahead of them, and I believe they will be playing in Virginia Tech. So because Virginia Tech is the higher seed, so it's against most of what I believe in to wish Florida well, but I hope I hope they do well. They're a good team. We beat them by 1 in the last game of the regular season, but they were a tough team to play against, and so I think they'll do well in the super regionals.
Are there any other teams that you thought would be here, in the super regionals that didn't make it?
Alabama lost 2 games to Stanford, which was pretty shocking. It was about as shocking as FSU losing 2 games to Mississippi State. So Stanford is one of the unseeded teams that will be making an appearance. They're playing another unseeded team, Oregon State. But Stanford, basically, their pitching was so good. They shut out Alabama twice in regionals. With their pitcher, her name is Alana Vawter. And she just did an incredible job. And so Stanford gets to go, and Alabama will not be there.
Well, when you're looking at players overall thus far this season, and you're looking at pitching, if you had 2 pitchers, picking from any team, who would you have on your staff there?
Jordan Ball from Oklahoma.
Okay.
And then the second one, I'm not sure. I would probably, it's hard because the number 2, and it would probably be Virginia Tech's pitcher, or Valerie Cagle from Clemson. The ACC has some really good pitching staffs going on. The girl from Virginia Tech, her name is Keely Rochard. Either her or Cagle from Clemson. They are really great pitchers. They were really tough to play against in the ACC championships. They do a great job in the circle. Jordan Ball is actually out right now for Oklahoma. It's up in the air whether or not she'll be returning for the super regionals, but I know they hope she does because she's their ace in the circle. So I think it would have to be between those 3 if I had to pick any pitchers.
I know that due to COVID, there was also some redshirting and some players got an extra year. And, with great hopes with FSU. As you said, some are departing now. But looking at FSU, there's also some folks we know that will be coming back. And I believe it was the young catcher
Kayla Edenfield, yes, she was a redshirt freshman, so we have her for like the next 3 years. She's great. She's powerful at bat. She commands the game really well from behind the plate. So it'll be exciting to have her back. I don't know if we'll have Catherine Sandercock back. She is a senior, but I don't know if she'll be taking advantage of the COVID year. But she is our main pitcher, and that would be great because we just lost Daniel Watson and Mac Leonard. If we can have her back, that would be wonderful. Yeah, we'll have Kaylee Harding back. She's a sophomore. She's great at bat. Kaylee Mudge will be coming back. She's a leadoff batter, so that's an important one to get back. So we're losing a lot of great players, but we're keeping a lot of great players. So it'll be interesting to see what the makeup of the team is next year. The one that's really going to hurt us is losing Sydney Sherrill.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see what it looks like next year, but with who's in the mix right now of those 16 teams. I mean, it's easy to say, well, it's going to be Oklahoma, but yeah, I know. but who do you see as other contenders? Who are the other ones that you think, if people are going to be watching the games, that they should say that's the one who might make it there?
Definitely UCLA. UCLA is always up there. They're always a great team. They're number 5, I believe, going into super regionals, and they're playing Duke. Duke is a great team, but I would put my money on UCLA. They're always great. Arkansas, they're number 4. It's their first ever super regional, and they've had a really dominant season this year, and coming out of a tough SEC schedule. That I think they're one to look out for. And number 3, Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech has been great this year. They have a really strong pitching staff, so I think that they will probably do well. They're playing number 14 Florida, and Florida is always good, but I think Virginia Tech might have it over them. It'll be interesting to see, but I think that's what I'd look for. And of course, Stanford's an unseeded team, but they're on a roll after beating Alabama twice. I could say the same thing about Mississippi State. When you beat two teams that are just so powerful in the regular season, they might be like the JMU of last year, who surprised people and go pretty far in the World Series.
Well, anybody who's enjoying the game, they're going to have a great opportunity because it starts tomorrow. Today's May 26th on Wednesday, but tomorrow the first game's launch. There's, I think, 2 games. Most of them are going on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but actually, 2 of them start tomorrow. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Thursday. So 2 of them start tonight. Oklahoma.
It is Thursday. Well, let's try that again, shall we? Okay. Well, in preparation for this weekend and getting my mind reset here for a moment, looking at the games, they're actually going to start on Thursday today, May 26th. I fell back a day. I thought it was Wednesday, but most of the rest of the games are going to be Friday through Sunday. Who's starting out? Who are going to be these first 2 games today?
Well, Oklahoma State and Clemson play tonight at 9:30, and then Texas and Arkansas play tonight at 7:00. Both of those games are on ESPN2, which is nice. And then everything else gets started tomorrow. So it looks like every other team is playing Friday, and then game 2s will be on Saturday and game 3s will be on Sunday.
Wow. Well, it's going to be exciting. I'm looking forward to seeing all of it. Not unlike yourself, I wanted to see FSU get there. What other pieces of wisdom, what other pieces of interest do you think we should share with people who are going to be watching these games?
They're always exciting. This is high level softball. So if you want to see some exciting games, if you've been on the fence about it, it's fast paced, it moves quick. There's only 7 innings unless they go into extra innings. So it's about 2 hours of your time. It's fun to watch. These are going to be some great games with some great pitchers and some great batters. If you're new to it, I would definitely check out the Oklahoma game because you're going to see some power hitting, and that's always fun to watch. If you are looking for exciting games, these are going to be the games that are the most exciting until we get to the World Series, which is June 2nd through the 9th. And those will be great games. Again, it's just high-level softball.
Wow. Well, we'll get a little bit more. You and I'll talk a little bit more when it gets closer to that. Mary, I can't thank you enough for giving us a little bit more perspective about a game, which I really enjoy, softball. And people who've been watching baseball and saying this game is too long. Well, guess what? Go out there and watch the softball game. The intensity that these players are out there with, what they have to achieve and the fandom. It's a great experience. So I encourage all of you all, if you're not making it to the field, make it to watch the super regional games coming up here on ESPN2, etc. And check your local listings for more. But there you go. Oh, anyway, thank you, Mary, so much for joining us here today. Any other words you want to share with the audience?
No, I've got nothing.
Thank you all again for joining us here on Baseball Biz with the softball edition, a very special edition. And we'll be talking with you guys again real soon. Special thanks to XTakeRUX for the music, Rocking Forward.